It comes round once every 4 years, and on this occasion it arrives at the Galactica Bowling Centre in Limassol, Cyprus, the Bowling World Singles Championships. It really is a title to win. It gives you bragging rights for quite a few years as you go around the world playing this great sport. So, fantastically named centre, welcomes some fantastic players, and we really do have the cream of the crop. We're going to start off with the women's final, and an interesting lineup for this one. Diana Zavjalova is through against the premium bowler at the moment in women's bowling, Kelly Kulick, the only female player to ever win a PBA title, and she's carried that reputation on Cass and really made a name for herself in the game.
Simon, yes, you're quite right, and that title was actually the Tournament of Champions against Chris Barnes, and international recognition flew her way.
Kevin Dornberger in the background there, the man with the white hair and the glasses, the man who heads up the whole of this World 10-Pin Bowling Association Tour. And Kulick off with a nice strike. Now, how can the woman from Latvia match her? Diana Zavjalova. This is a big step up for this young lady. Quality bowler, but has to make sure she gets the carry on this new condition against a very powerful American player.
Well, she's actually held her own, Simon, in the qualifying, coming through to this final. She's averaged over 220, the girl from Latvia. But yeah, it's one of the first times I've actually seen her on televised 10-pin bowling in a final. Makes the pocket nicely, but can't carry the 10-pin. So that can only be a spare to start with. We're upstairs in the bowling centre. It's a 24-lane centre, 12 down, 12 up. We're on lanes 21 and 22.
There comes the spare ball then for Diana. And takes it out very calmly. The crowd not getting overexcited at the moment.
Well, you'll actually see this, and you're probably aware. It's USA versus Latvia in Cyprus.
Yeah, different lineup.
The crowd are kind of not really particularly partisan, are they, for either bowler?
Yeah, I think they'll probably just keep their powder dry until they see what happens. I think Kelly's got every chance of really lighting this game up, and it's going to be whether Zavjalova is able to hold with her. Some real quality players from across the world in both the men's and the women's division. And we'll see Chris Barnes in action against Tommy Jones in the men's final. Oh, and that was my concern coming into this one for Diana. You know, would she just run out of steam a little bit on the lane?
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, as I say, she's averaged pretty well through the tournament so far. It may well be her first time on television, but if she can shut all the lights out and the noise, not that there's too much noise, and just play a steady game, she's certainly going to be in with a chance.
Well, clean so far, so steady stuff from Diana, but this is a real opportunity for Kelly to stamp her mark, to impose herself on this women's final. Yes,
Kelly Kulick's had the, believe it or not, had the only 300 game of this tournament.
Yeah, that's a great stat, that is, Cass.
Situation is that the World Singles, this is the very first one. Two players, or two men and two women from every federation came here to represent their countries, and we're down to the final two ladies, and soon afterwards, as Simon said, we'll see the top two men playing.
Oh, beautifully done from Kelly, and this is a really good delivery. Very convincing, and you can see there the carry that we were talking about, getting those pins to disappear, and sometimes can be a bit of a struggle on the heavier oil patterns for the bowlers to get up there and get the mix on the pins, and she's done it again.
She goes 3 strikes in a row, just tripping that 4-pin, but yeah, it looks a reasonably user-friendly condition. Both players playing the outside area of the lane, and there you can see the ball hooking up very nicely. So there's plenty of back end Any ball that's got rotation on it, it will come back. So you've got to get the speed and that rotation right when it arrives at the 1-3 pocket for the right-hander. Again, another perfect-looking shot from Dinah.
Much better, much more conviction there from the Latvian.
Yeah, well, she'll get the first strike, her first strike out of the way, and that will hopefully settle her down. And hopefully both ladies will be able to play the left and the right lane as a pair of lanes, as equal and even, which is what we like to see. So it's an early lead so far. Kulick's perfect through 3. Zavjalova with her first strike looking to make the double.
As always, a lot of big name players in the crowd behind, watching on. I'm sure you'll be able to pick a few out for those of you that are regular 10-pin bowling watchers here on Eurosport. Zavjalova looking pretty confident now, actually, and starting to give us a few fist pumps, and that'll just get in Kelly Kulick's grill just a touch. See how the American responds.
It was some, good body language off of a good shot, and why not? You see the replay, nice and straight. Holds a position of the line, and it's flush in the 1-3 pocket and carries all 10. 2 strikes in a row.
And that just didn't get the luck it probably deserved there. That wasn't far away from Kelly Kulick, and the messenger nearly got across to the 10.
Losing semi-finalists that went out just prior to this final. Esther Chi from Malaysia, an old favourite, well known on the World Tour, and a lady I've never heard of before, Acerta Zeta from Mexico. But you know, she's got to the World semi-final, unfortunately beaten. But 5th was Shannon O'Keefe of the USA. 6th is Clara Guerrero of Colombia, and a Swede and a Finn tucked up 7th and 8th. In the shape of Jolene Person Flanders and Kirsten Payne.
Nicely taken out by Kelly. Yes, Guerrero's watching just in the background, right behind both these players. Now, Kelly with some work to do here. Will not want to see Zavjalova continue that strike run next time she steps up. Unfortunately for her, she's broken her strike run, so she's got to restart in the 5th. Just taking her time over this one and making sure of it. Again, that experience just so beneficial to some of these players. But I think, Cass, we're going to see a lot more names appear on the tour over the next couple of years as it grows. And we'll see a lot of new stars coming through as well. Wonder how the American bowlers feel about that, the potential that yet more international stars will descend on their homegrown tour.
And take their money.
Yes, well, that's it. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Well, the thing is, bowling fans will have noticed that there's quite a few Americans coming over and playing the European tour in the last year or so, and I'm sure that's going to increase, because once the American tour is in close season, they've got nothing to do but come across and try and win some events in you know, places like the UK and France, and there's a huge tournament up in Helsinki. And so, yes, it's going to be nice to see not only the Americans coming over to Europe, but the international players going to the States and trying to wreak some havoc there as well.
Nice confident nod of the head after Zavjalova's last delivery, making it Turkey 3 strikes in a row. Getting a really good idea of the pace that these two are working at the moment. Some matches can be pretty quick if you get 2 players that like to get to the line quickly. But more often than not, especially in the clutch parts of the game, the players will just take that bit of time and get themselves settled. So Zavjalova working 3 strikes. Oh, she didn't like it. She knew that that was cutting back to the head pin, and that's always going to leave a corner of some description.
I wasn't sure whether that was Dinah screaming or someone from the audience, but it was a fraction of light in the pocket, and that's why the 10-pin stood up. So the run of strikes ends at 3. She's now going to have to make a spare on the right-hand side.
And she's not looked in trouble on the spares at all, actually. Looked really very tidy has controlled her pace well, has bowled completely within herself, hasn't let the emotions get away from her here. You know, it's not often you're going to be in a World Championship final up against the likes of Kelly Kulick. And if she doesn't make it count today, she's got another 4 years to wait before she gets another go. And turns straight away from that one. That's a good sign that she thinks it's taken care of. She's acquitted herself really well, I think, as Dana Zavjalova.
Yeah, she's averaged, as I say, she's averaged 220 on the last 6 games up to this final. Just showing us again how she can knock that single pin down. So yeah, 220 average over the last half a dozen games. She's pretty much lined up. Kelly brings a 10 pin on the right hand side as well, just proving that she can do it. And at the moment it's a 1-pin game. Kelly just got that 1-pin lead, so she's going to have to stay clean here. She's a 2009 PBA World Champion in the ladies division. Last year, the Ladies Bowling Writers Bowler of the Year title, she picked that up as well. And on the ladies section, she really is a force to be reckoned with.
On the men's section as well, as she's proved on one occasion. Takes out that 10 pin, and it's been a feature of the right-hand lane, Cass. If they're going to leave anything, it's been a flat 10 for these right-handers.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the lanes actually look quite well prepared and seem reasonably even for both players, both playing round about sort of the first arrow, in between first and second arrow, and just letting the ball ride up. There's lots of back end.
Yeah, Kelly far more purposeful in terms of her route to the pocket. She is an aggressive bowler. Just has to be a little bit careful with the reaction that she does get in the back end. Doesn't want to overhook it. And has given it a bit more room this time. And again, leaves that 10. That's virtually identical shot from the right-hand lane over to the left-hand lane.
Well, you were quite right, Simon. Yes, she gave it certainly a bit of extra width there on the right-hand side. Just floated out, didn't it? But it wasn't that fast. It had time to react and come back to the pocket, and it certainly did hook up. And, of course, it was the angle going in behind the head pin, in between the 1 and the 3, that was the problem while that 10 pin stood up on the right-hand side. The speed was good and the rotation appeared to be good. It was just the angle, I'm afraid.
Oh, both players spare bowling on those single pins has been good. Very solid. Coaches, of course, allowed in the fray in these tournaments, so very often make sure they've got the coach with them. That's also a feature of the MF Cubica World Cup.
Yes, the Team USA coach there is Rod Ross, the man with the shortish hair and the little goatee. Head coach Team USA, men and women. So we're likely to see him in the men's final as well.
Now, Zavjalova has bowled really well, and I know they're spares, so it's still pretty good for Kulick, but she's got a chance here. Oh, and that 10.
It's a soft 10, isn't it? Not necessarily a flat 10, but yeah, you just thought if that ball was going a bit quicker, it might have kicked that out, but she's been very consistent in the pocket. She hasn't missed it in 7 frames, and it's just becoming a carry contest on that right-hand side for both players.
It's a minute adjustment to make sure that 10 pin goes, but not at the expense of other pins, and nicely taken out. So for the moment, both players clean, Cass.
Absolutely, yeah. Zavjalova can go 2-4-7 if she can strike off. And with a 1-pin lead, Kulick can go 2-4-8. So if they both strike out, we've got a 1-pin winner. The odds on that happening are, well, let's wait and see. Let's not call any shots just at the moment. 3 frames to go.
Yeah, that's how it should be, though, in a World Championship final. Zavjalova on the verge of something really special here, and that strike invaluable. Now then, that's put pressure back on Kulick.
Yeah, it's put a score on the door, really. I mean, you know, whatever I do, you're going to have to do now. So, as you say, you're quite right. It does put pressure on Kulick. Not quite sure how she handles it. She normally takes it pretty well in her stride. A little a hop and a skip, but no jump there from the girl from Latvia. But she has set herself up here now.
Yeah, getting interested here. Now, what can she find in this next frame? Dumped it down pretty hard and strangely leaves a 7, but that's that minor adjustment that I was talking about. Trying to get the 10 out means that she's left a corner pin on the other side of the rack. Yeah,
you're quite right. Someone, you used the word dumped, well, she did actually dump it. She lost it at the bottom of the hand swing there, the arm swing. And it was almost a double bounce, and she's not happy with that because first ball in the 10th, you really wouldn't want to put some pressure on. Would have made 3 in a row. So she's got to spare this and strike, and she can only make 226, which may not be enough.
So, yeah, so not an adjustment, it was a mistake.
Yes.
OK, not so good then for Diana Zavjalova.
Yeah, you can actually hear the ball, as you say, you dumped. It was almost a double bounce, you could hear. Of course, once that's happened, the trajectory is not right. So I must make a spare here. Well, it's the first time she's bowled on the left-hand side of the lane, so that's pretty good.
So clean, but Kulick with a genuine opportunity. And then
just the last ball coming up, 10th frame.
Yeah, Kelly Kulick will be watching eagerly here because this will be the mark that she needs to beat. And what would a strike give Zavjalova here?
It'll give her 226, which will mean, and as close as it is, Kelly Kulick's going to have to hit 2 strikes, a double, in the first and second ball of the 10th frame, and hit something on the last ball to win. So it's been tight all the way. It's gone to the wire. And Zavjalova has set the bar.
Oh, well done, well done. So,
well, it's a posted score. It's 226.
Yeah, Diana Zavjalova has said to Kelly Kulick, beat that. It's up to the American to do it now if she wants this world title.
It's quite simple. Kelly Kulick, double K or K squared or whatever you like to call her, needs 2 strikes and 9. Let's just sit and watch.
Great start. I'm going to stick to calling her Mom, I think. That's a brilliant effort.
Well, it's the first one out of 2.
Just nice to have the coach there sometimes just to confirm, look, that's the line I want, that's the line I'm going to stick with. Coach says, yeah, that's fine.
She's pretty much been there all the game. Straight down that right-hand side, and it's worked for her. She's now, trust is a must, or your game is a bust. This really has to be. She's got to trust this one.
Yeah, this is the ball.
Well, she's taken her time. She knows exactly what she's got to do. And that's just mental pressure and mental approach.
Not going to bowl till I'm ready. Kelly Kulick now is ready. Diana Zavjalova watching on very nervously from behind. This is the one. If it's a strike, then it's all right, going Kelly Kulick's way.
It's pretty much over. She's just got a good count on the last ball. But this has to be a strike. Oh, and it's...
Oh, you're kidding me. Over it goes.
You're kidding everybody,
goodness
Kelly.
Me.
Dear, oh dear. How about that? Talk about Wheel of Fortune.
That's a tough one for Zavjalova to take, and she's not seen the funny side of that little victory dance from Kulick.
Look at that. That pin is standing up solid.
That's horrible. What a tough one to take for the Latvian.
Dear, oh dear. 2 strikes in a row. Well, it sets it up now for a victory. 8 for the tie, 9 for the win. And the world singles titles will go to Kelly Kulick from the United States. And that's it, it's all over.
Style. Absolutely very convincing strike to make that one. And Kelly Kulick wins the Women's World Singles Championship title, beating Diana Zavjalova. Well done to her, and it's 2 Americans involved in the men's final after the break. Stay with us for Chris Barnes versus Tommy Jones, but it's Kelly Kulick that picks up the women's title. Welcome back to the Galactica Centre in Limassol, Cyprus. We've seen the Women's World Championship final. Time for the men's now. And if you sat down and thought about what sort of matchup you like to win a world crown, well, you wouldn't have gone far wrong picking these two. Chris Barnes against, look at that, Thomas Jones. We're all very formal today. Tommy Jones up against Chris Barnes. USA versus USA. 2 Weber Cup teammates, 2 very good friends, and 2 excellent exponents of this game.
Yeah, you're quite right, Simon. Ask for the 2 best players you'd like to see head-to-head, and you could well pick these 2. Well, here they are in a world final. We're upstairs at the Galactica Centre. Sorry, we're downstairs at the Galactica Centre.
Yeah, we've gone downstairs now for this one.
Yeah, we're on lanes 9 and 10. And rumour has it, floating around, that 9 and 10 have not been the highest scoring pair of lanes all week for some unknown reason. But Barnes has started off.
Well, I think an early indication they're just going to try and blaze a trail through this oil, aren't they? They're going to try and force the issue on this lane.
Well, they've both got enough rotation on their bowling ball to do that sort of thing. It's only 10 frames. So Barnes is off with a strike. Barnes averaged 247 for the last 9 games coming to this final. Jones has averaged 234 over the same amount of games. So they're both pretty much locked on the 1-3 pocket.
Ooh, no.
Except for Jones, it's locked into the 1-5 pocket. He went straight through the headpin there and left the 4-6, 7-10 or something very similar to that.
That's about as ugly as it gets, I think. I do like those Team USA shirts, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was a tough shot for Tommy Jones. I think, you know, these guys you don't come off a ball like that and think, oh dear, I've just made a terrible mistake, or woe is me. You're thinking, well, Barnes is going to have to bowl on this as well. Good luck.
Yeah, it's the 3, 4, 6 and the 7. He's got to take a couple of the. It might bounce across and.
Oh no!
Oh dear.
He's missed everything.
6-0.
That's a huge leave.
It's a huge open frame. I'm not quite sure where that spare ball was going, or what he was trying to do. But, oh dear, that didn't react. That right-hand lane didn't react as Chris Barnes's ball did on the left-hand lane. So that's a big open frame for Jones to start with.
Go on, you say it or me. First frame.
Get it out of the way, and then you can work on the rest of the game. Well, you know, 9 frames is all he's got against Chris Barnes, who's averaging 247. So where's your money going?
Yeah, I think you've got to say, Chris, on a lane, on 2 lanes that are playing like they're playing, you've got to go for the technical man, and Chris Barnes is really a professor of this sport. He knows what he's doing in tricky conditions. Tommy Jones,
oh dear,
goodness me, it just isn't happening.
Another 6. 6-pin bowling. Dear oh dear, what's he left there? 1, 2, 6 and the 10, the washout, which is a pretty much it's a pretty tricky spread. It will go, but you've got to be deadly accurate, and you've got to come in at the right angle. Probably going across the lane, left to right.
Not much for this Limassol crowd to cheer at the moment, and this is the frustration for the players. You know, this is a PBA superstar, and there's a group of spectators behind him saying, well, what's so super about this?
Oh,
hey, there we go, there we go.
Just on cue, that was a super spare, and it's got him out of danger, because another open frame there, and you could have said, well, Chris, take the game away, but it's a...
He's almost backed that up.
Well, yeah, that's right. I say he came left to right and backed it. Used the angle to jump into the 6 and the 10 on the right-hand side. Well, 6 miss, 6 spare.
Chris over onto the lane that Tommy first had the problem on. Oh, and he's left a single pin, and yeah, I think we'll see quite a few expressions like that from Mr. Barnes in this final.
Don't know if you noticed, Simon, he used a totally different ball on this right-hand lane than he did on the left-hand lane, and played a different line, played it a lot straighter The left-hand lane got a lot of back end. This right-hand lane seems to be playing what they call a lot tighter, meaning not so much hook, maybe a bit more oil. It's just gone down a bit further. So the pattern would appear to be slightly different. So it's hard and straight, so he's made a spare after a strike. There's the Team USA coach, Rod Ross, back at the back there in the blue shirt.
Good spot on the ball, I was going to say, Cass. Good spot on the ball for Chris, and we'll get to see now how much reaction he is getting on this left side, and what a totally different shot it is.
Well, the thing is, you see, they would have practiced on this pair of lanes, you know, 5 or 10 minutes before the final. And it's a decision he's made. He's consciously said, you know, this right-hand lane is not playing the same. Let's get something out the arsenal that's going to work.
And look at that. Huge hook.
Yeah, a great amount of back end there. So that is obviously a very dry area down at that length of the lane. Comes off the corner of the oil pattern and rips the rack. So he's fine on that lane. Very much wider, wasn't it? And a great reaction.
Good strike. Now Tommy Jones has got to do something. These guys will travel with, well, sometimes upwards of 25 bowling balls. The excess baggage charges must be horrendous. But they've certainly got the armoury to deal with all the different conditions they might encounter.
Jones almost going straight on that shot. Certainly didn't hook it hardly at all. And as for the excess baggage, I think the ball reps probably pay the excess rather than the players, Simon. But yeah, these guys have to come with the right equipment, and it's challenging at times because they don't know what sort of lane conditions they will get until they actually get out on the pitch, as they say.
So Jones skips across to the other lane and looking to double up here. That would certainly get him back in the mix.
Well, now this one should certainly hook a bit more, so he may well a slightly different setup on the approach and play a different area of the lane and wait for it to hook. Well, there you go. See, he's way left, throws it way right, and it just roars back, doesn't it? So that lane looks pretty perfect for both guys. It's the one on the right-hand side that may be causing a problem. But Jones has gone 2 strikes. That is a really good-looking shot. Great reaction in the back end, carries all 10.
Well, Barnes would have been watching Tommy Jones' last delivery on this right-hand lane. He would have seen how straight it went. He tried to do that the last time he came up, but just left a single pin right in the middle of the deck.
And there you can see Tommy Jones in the background telling the coach exactly what he thinks of this pair of lanes. That one's good and that one's bad.
Yeah,
Barnes,
that's a good strike.
Barnes almost pointing that one off the corner, a straight shot. Didn't look for any hook, kept it simple. You know, don't try and overcome the lane too quickly. If that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. If you need to bowl a straight ball to get a strike, throw it straight. Yeah, not a bad looking shot. Up frames 3 and 4.
Massive test for these two to try and find it. Out comes the different ball that Cass was telling us about for the left-hand lane. And again, just watch the shape of this delivery. Watch how much the bowling ball turns back into the pins. Whereas on the right-hand side, it literally is just rolling straight into the pocket. Back it comes.
Way out there, isn't it? And comes roaring.
Oh, that kicked on him a bit, and he was unlucky not to get that messenger across.
He's just saying that perhaps there's someone down the back of the lane there throwing pins in, but threw it in the wrong direction. Or certainly didn't hit the 10 pin. So he has a joke with the crowd and the coach.
Crowd liked it, but it's no joke when you're trying to win a world title. You know, this is tricky, and neither man will want to lose on an unlucky delivery. Takes out the spare.
Yeah, but it was a good comparison there, Simon, as you were saying, the difference in the two lanes. You could physically see that ball hooking back from the outside of the lane up into the pocket, whereas on the right-hand lane, there's no chance of doing that.
And no pair is ever going to be the same. You know, that's impossible, but this is quite an interesting study here, because you don't often see such a disparity between left to right.
Especially in a televised final. I mean, they've set this pair of lanes up to be almost perfect as a pair, identical. And unfortunately, you can physically see that that hasn't happened. But there's nothing these guys can do about it. They've just got to get on with it. So you might be bowling your A game on the left lane and your B game on the right lane. It's just the way it goes. Flushes the pocket, Jones, with that straight-looking shot. You can't quite see how straight it's playing because of the camera angle, unfortunately. The cameras aren't quite set up in the right position.
But it's always a gamble, isn't it? The straighter you go into that pocket, the more of a lottery it is as to whether you're going to make all 10.
Well, that's right. Yeah, you need the angle, and that's why these guys you have to bowl a hook ball. You need to get some angle in behind the head pin into the 1 and the 3. A straight ball going into the 1 and the 3 will, as a percentage, not strike as much.
Very little communication between Jones and Barnes. I think they're just trying to keep themselves to themselves, and both men taking the option of coach.
Well, they're very good friends. They bowl together, Team USA, and in the Weber Cup. They've played each other probably hundreds of times in head-to-head. They both know the situation with a pair of lanes. They know that Jones is behind. And apart from that, there's not very much to say until they get to the end. And although they won't like it, one of them will have to lose, and they will have to accept the fact that their opponents won, and then just move on, put the game behind them.
Yeah, and don't second-guess the lane either. Don't get involved with that. Just try and throw the ball you wanted to throw. And if it strikes for you, it strikes for you. You can deal with the negatives after the delivery, but give everything your complete focus up to that point. I think they call it committing to the shot, Cass.
Absolutely, yeah. It's trusting what you do. And once the ball's gone, you've got to trust that it's going to react the way you want it to. If you delivered it properly, that's fine. If it goes slightly AWOL, it may well be that you haven't delivered it properly, so get everything right at the foul line. Just hope it goes. Ooh, how about that one?
Dear me, that's the type of shot we saw from Jones first up, and it's happened to Barnes now, and that will change the game quite dramatically.
Well, it will certainly close the scores up between them. Chris is just checking the overhead score monitor. He's gone straight through the head pin. I mean, from the foul line, it was probably just a fraction wrong, and of course, it's not going to make the 1-3 pocket, so he's left the 4-6-10.
Open frame then for Barnes, and that's going to hurt.
Yes, indeed, one open frame apiece. And we're past the halfway stage already, and Barnes has only got a 2-pin lead, so I mean, that's nothing at all.
Again, just taking his time over this one, Chris Barnes. He knows this is close. And it's all about forgetting the last shot and resetting your focus on the next lane. You can't afford to be thinking about anything else. This will hook back in. There it goes. And had it wide enough to make sure that when it did hook in that dry back end part of the lane, made it comfortably. But as he walks away from that shot, he's huffing and puffing about the right-hand side.
Yeah, a bit frustrated with that, with lane 10. The thing to do is to get a good strike on lane 9 and not care whether you get a lucky one on lane 10 and then come back and get another good one on lane 9 and you've got a turkey. It's not quite as easy as that, though.
No, well, it's a positive way of thinking your way through it. Worst case scenario, you go strike, spare strike and stay nice and clean. And that ain't bad either at this level with this much on the line. Now, Tommy Jones will be feeling, OK, there's a chance here.
Yep, he's got to get it right in that 1-3 pocket. Not too much hook. It's the accuracy he's looking for here.
Dear me, baby split.
Well, it's not so much a baby split sum, it's the 2 and the 10, which is quite big. The ball only just got to the headpin, which proves that there is some sort of excess oil on that right-hand side of that lane. And that ball just didn't get up. It really didn't. It's made the headpin, but it's only just touched it. And Jones could tell from the, as soon as it left his hand, and the look on his face tells us, oh.
Just wanted it back, didn't he? Yeah, sorry, Cass, that camera angle from the side foreshortening the distance, but you're right, it's a big one.
Yes, indeedy.
Well, makeable, but outside chance.
Well, you have to give it a go at this stage.
Oh, unlucky. Was
well,
trying to clip it across.
Yeah, taking one would have made not an awful lot of odds, but to keep in the game, he really had to take the spare, and he gave it a shot. And unfortunately, that's 2 open frames for Jones, and he hasn't made a double yet. In fact, he's only made 2 strikes out of 7 frames. So someone that was averaging 230 in the run-up to this final on other lanes in this centre is struggling. And he's going to be struggling to make 200 unless he can put a few strikes together.
Well, they'll be talking about this final on the way back on the plane together. Well, Tommy Jones and Chris Barnes. Yeah, this is the lane they've been happier on, and that's why, because it's doing what they expect the ball to do. Still leaves a 10, though.
Yeah, you're quite right. They can make the pocket. They know they can get it. It just becomes a bit of a carry contest, as we saw there. But that right-hand lane really is causing some problems and affecting this this match quite a lot. So you get some width, some reaction in the back end, and can't even get the messenger over to that 10, which is pretty unfortunate. I guess the only thing from Jones's perspective, if he doesn't win, he's not going to lose a lot of money, because there's gold, silver and bronze medals up for this this championship, for this title. No money on the line.
Yeah, would have loved a world title to take back to the States, and that could still happen, especially in the current climate with all those international players wreaking havoc on the PBA. To come back with a world title would really mean something, I think, to the American 10-pin bowling fans right now. And that's a good strike from Chris Barnes. That's helped his cause.
Well, it has, because it's a strike on the the rather nasty right-hand lane, and he's just got this one to come up nicely. If he can come back on lane 9 and strike, he's got the turkey we were talking about earlier on. So that really was a big shot. He defeated Andres Gomez in the semi-final. A 2-4-6 to a 2-4-4.
Yeah, it's a good win, that. That's a good win under these circumstances.
Absolutely, yeah, just a 2-pin win. And Tommy Jones beat Oscar Paloma 2-5-9 to an unfortunate 199. So Andres Gomez and Oscar Paloma are the bronze medalists. And Chris has just ripped the rack and gone 3 strikes in a row and set himself up for a bit of a victory here, I think.
Yeah, that's a big shot from Barnes. That really is. That's opened the door. And a smile to the coach and the crowd confirms Barnes is feeling pretty good about this.
Well, he's left Jones with very little to do. He's only got 2 frames left, and he can go 201 for a maximum. That's if he can strike out. And bear in mind, he's finishing on that right-hand lane.
It's got tragedy written all over it, I'm afraid.
Actually, I meant that. He's finishing on the left-hand lane. So this one's got to be good to hopefully set himself up. It's the foundation frame. It's frame 9. Can he make his strike on there? Yes, he can. Well, well done, Tommy Jones, or Thomas Jones, as they call him here in Cyprus.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's ages since anyone's called him that. Probably his mum when he was naughty last. Now then, Tommy, here's your chance. Can you put some pressure on Chris Barnes? Because Chris will be feeling a little bit jittery here.
Yes, he's certainly got to throw a strike or two just to get somewhere near 200. And as I say, averaging 234 to put in a 190 or a 2-0 game in the televised world final is just so disappointing. Been playing here all week, averaging really high, and then to put a score like that on the door. Unfortunately, it may not be enough, but he's got the first strike.
Good work.
So, yeah, he earns himself a couple of other shots in the 10th, but look at the look on his face.
Yeah, he thinks it's over. Maybe a bit of kidology there, but trouble is he knows who he's up against. He knows that Chris Barnes is a good finisher.
Well, I think he knows that Barnes has probably just got to keep the ball on the lane, keep it in play, hit the head pin, and it's all going to be over. So Jones just maybe going through the motions here.
It's a tough break for Tommy. Thought he found a way to work on that right-hand side when he bowled that much straighter strike early doors, but was unable to replicate it then, just kept leaving the 10s, and then it got worse and left the 2-10. Well done, Tommy Jones.
Well, that's his first double in frames 9 and 10. So that's, I'll tell a lie, he actually got one in 3 and 4, didn't he? But that right-hand lane has caused him problems. He had the 6 miss and the 8 miss out there, which has done all the damage.
And you've got Pelders in the glasses in the centre of your picture, just behind Tommy Jones' head. Big player in terms of European bowling and the European Bowling Tour.
Oh, President. Mr. President is Adi Ophelders of the European 10-pin Bowling Federation.
Former President Kim Jensen's also watching on. So all the big names are here. I'm sure they'll be involved in the presentation. Jones. Oh, well, there's not much you can say to Tommy Jones right now that would make him feel better. I guess all he has to think about is on that right-hand lane, it was a lottery.
198 is not quite enough, unfortunately, in the World Final. Chris Barnes is going to be the winner. He's just got to keep the ball on the lane, basically.
Yeah, even on this lane.
Well, he needs 9 pins in the 10th frame.
So ideally, he would like a strike just to settle him down, and as all the elite players will do, he's not going to bowl till he's ready. Not going to bowl till the hubbub has just died down a bit here in the Galactica Centre in Limassol. More bowling centres should be called Galactica and that sort of thing. That's the right name. That sums it up for a world title to be contested here. Oh, hello, hello.
Dear, oh dear.
Keeping it entertaining, Mr. Barnes.
He looks as sick as a parrot, doesn't he?
That's horrible.
He's got to take 2.
Just double checking there and looking across to Tommy Jones, and Tommy Jones isn't going to give him any support. He keeps his gaze firmly fixed front, and Barnes all on his own for this one. Now then,
actually, Simon, my calculator's gone up. He needs the spare. He's got the 3, the 6 and the 10.
Got to make this.
Got to hit the front one. Oh, and he's done it.
He does make it. Well done, Chris Barnes.
Yeah, that's it.
That was what he had to do to win, and he's done it.
And everybody knows it. Yeah, the crowds recognise that, so has Tommy Jones.
Well, that's an interesting situation for these two, but they've got up and bowled, and essentially you've got to take the exam paper that's put before you, but it was a particularly difficult one for this World Final. And for Chris Barnes, if he can get over 200, that's a good effort for him.
Yeah, he's already there. The game is won. This doesn't really need to bowl this ball, but hey, have a strike, why not?
Well, take what you can get. Chris Barnes has done exactly that. He beats Tommy Jones to take the gold medal and the World Championship title. So he's the winner. We'll be back after the break for the presentation. Stay with us. Welcome back. Time for the World Championship to be presented with their titles, and also the podium players to pick up their medals. Excellent silver medal for Diana Zavjalova of Latvia, presented by the president of the European 10-pin Bowling Federation, Adi Ophelders.
I think there's also a medal for the coaches as well, which is a nice touch as well.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. Also on the podium, awaiting the arrival of the world champion, and there she is, double K, Kelly Kulick, continues to rack up those titles, only just made the podium. Well, thoroughly deserved victory for her, and the gold medal presented by Mr. Kevin Dornberger, World 10-Pin Bowling Federation President. And an excellent win. It's USA all the way. And despite what's happened on the PBA Tour in terms of international victories, they still remain the force in world 10-pin bowling. And for Tommy Jones, disappointing, but excellent sporting conduct from him, receiving the applause of this Limassol crowd here in the Galactica Bowling Centre. And again, Adi Holders presenting the silver medal, but gold medalist, the world champion, he's back in business. Son of Jor-El, Superman, Chris Barnes joins Kelly Kulick to make it double American gold. Kevin Dornberger, once again, the man who's going to oversee a very exciting development in the world of 10-pin bowling in terms of the Federation Tour. This is Gomez and the Weber Cup captain alongside him, Oscar Palermo, picking up their bronze medal. Chris Barnes delighted with his haul.
Oh, it's the Star Spangled Banner.
Absolutely. And what a way to end. As I said, USA double gold, dominating things here in Cyprus, and ending a solid tournament, and those guys will be champions for the next 4 years. Well, that's it from our World Championship presentation here on Eurosport. From myself and Cass Edwards, we'll say goodbye.